Hey everybody, this is YouTube content. I wanted to play some Rogue Tower, but I got sucked into the Elden Ring mines today. Don't worry about all this. I'm just clicking on stuff, essentially. We got 140 XP. Let's get some extra mana bombs. Sure, that sounds fantastic. If you're not familiar with how we've been doing in Rogue Tower so far, we literally have never beaten single defense, which is my only goal, to feel like I could finally put this game, in the Steam library. My wife and I were having kind of like an informal race to see who could be the first person to beat it, and I'm not even messing with you. She trounced me. So, like, this is just the only way that I can recover even the slightest bit of honor, basically. But I'm having a good time with it regardless. Every couple of days, I just get the itch to play like one Rogue Tower run. There's just something about it. Like, if I'm being 100% honest, it's not my favorite game that I've ever played. But that's more than anything else, largely just because of the fact that the runs are like really long. Ignoring that, I have a great time with it, but I do always lose at the very end, and could possibly do the same here, okay? Let's get a mana bank before we need a mana bank, because I feel like one of the ways that runs, for me, like, consistently end, is I just run out of mana. I make a terrible mistake. I take mana towers thinking that a mana bank or, like, a lot of sorcery levels or something like that will show up, and then they just never do. Let's minimize the chance of this. It's a tough one. I would really still like a Tesla coil, I think. Now that we have some mana banks, I think there's some wisdom to employ here. That being said, it's very difficult for us to place down a Tesla coil because we need 500 gold. But at the same time, nothing is getting even in the vicinity of us right now. The early game, I feel like I got a handle on it. It's like post wave 30, that's where I don't know what I'm doing. I will say, you know what? Just give me better mortars. I will say, how good is the aesthetic of Rogue Tower, man? I thought this cost 500 for some reason. Oh, the mana banks cost 500. That's what my brain was doing. It's like it's like Lego Warfare. It's like if they made a Lego Warhammer game. This is what it would be. That idea is free. That idea is on the house if the Lego Corporation's interested. Like I said, I don't really struggle with the game until the later waves. Look, we're fine. It just looked spicy, but it's not really that spicy. I love shredders. I also love banditry, but let's go shredders, okay? So, like, I'm very happy with our current setup. Maybe we might run into a little bit of spice, but you gotta wait. Like, it might take a minute for your Tesla coil to get stronger. The upgrades are really quite cheap. I would take 2 upgrades on this right now, even though we don't need to do that much more shield damage. Take advantage of that while we got a chance. And then 1 shredder. Oh, man. Especially if the path loops back around, I'm feeling good. Also feels nice, like, not in a bad way, because actually, and this is with complete sincerity, the more Elden Ring I play, the more fascinated I become by it. First day, I was like, I'm having a great time. We hit a slight lull around the entrance to Caelid, and now I'm like, this is such an incredible game. I don't think siphons are technically more efficient, but for now, I guess I would prefer banditry. But it is nice to have a little break. Have a little break from the Elden, you know, and play something that is honestly more analytical. Not easier necessarily, but certainly like a little bit more analytical. So we got things that do damage to health. We've got a small amount of AoE. This does damage to shields, though we don't really need it right now. And we've got 2 mortars that are doing a decent job of, you know, AoE plus armor. So I'm happy with that. I would love an AoE health damager. Thankfully, we already have that in the form of the Shredder. I really do. I apologize because I use this comparison too often, but I really do feel like Lisa Simpson in the episode where everybody can figure out the brain teaser except for her. Because everybody I know that plays this has defeated at least single tower defense. And here I am, just trying to stay alive, man. Just trying to preserve some honor. Got a little lucky there. I would still take another level of banditry, but hear me out. I gotta make you guys target Most armor, then most health. Because you never want them to target least health. Because that's how they end up missing. I had this backwards. Okay, 500 gold, we can put down a shredder. Let's put it on this beautiful +3. I'm loving the looping. A mortar in here could do some serious work. And there we go. It's always nice to get these DOTs on them right off the bat, too. I'm feeling a lot better. Okay, no sweat, no sweat. Let's get these ballistas down. The ballistas are essentially just our economy. But yeah, if you're watching, thanks for watching. I know we're a little bit late on the Rogue Tower, you know, flavor of the week, but having a great time with it regardless. It's just one of those things I gotta do, you know. I gotta put it to bed. But I gotta do what I gotta do first. I gotta do what I gotta do. I'm going banditry again. I really feel like when I lose in this game, it's usually just a complete collapse. It's very rarely like, oh, 2 enemies snuck through. It's always like literally, sure, we died 4 times faster than we would have if we didn't take the banditries, but also 10 times more enemies than it would take to get us to lethal pass through, so. I still want the ballista. I want another mortar right here. Or maybe right here, depending. I gotta think about it. What's a mortar's effective range? I think I'd take right here. I'm okay with that. Now, if you're wondering what is your strategy, it's honestly a great question that I don't have a great answer for. One of the things I would say is my strategy is saw blades. I've also thought about... Hold on, I think poison could be really good too. Having a shield, or sorry, a weapon or tower type that affects all different types of HP an enemy can have. Like, for example, we need something to deal with armor, we need something to deal with HP, we need something to deal with shields. And then maybe not taking so many towers. I know we got 5 right now. But not taking so many towers that we feel like we can't level everything up, like, appropriately. And instead going deep in the towers that we already have. But honestly, I don't know if that's exactly the right play. My wife tells me it's a silly strategy, but I don't know. We'll take Tesla coils, deal more against armor, even though it doesn't necessarily seem like it's something that's that important. I'm going to do it anyway. This is a nice little kill box in here, and I'm watching our mana to make sure our mana does well. I do also think, like, I would love the high damage, extreme mana cost towers. You know, I would love the particle cannons to deal with the bosses, because the bosses have been a real sticking point for me. I would love the obelisk, which we've had an opportunity to take, but always, you know, so far at the expense of everything else. Universities as well can give you, like, some serious upgrades, but if we have an upgrade to a tower type we already have, I'd prefer to go with that. Right now, at least. So I think this is a nice little kill box right here. I wouldn't mind having a Tesla coil here as well that can hit all the enemies as they come by. I also wouldn't mind having, like, maybe a sick +3 shredder here that can hurt these enemies. I know it works better downstream, but trust me, there's going to be a lot of downstream to come. We would also prefer if these 2 paths were not, like, exactly the same length. And maybe this one will come back this way, and these towers can have a chance to do some damage there. But we're doing great for now. There's nothing to worry about. Nothing to worry about yet. So if we're thinking about kill boxes, this is a big one. We could use another damage type right here. You're already done. Come on, like, don't make me laugh. Poison sprayers do 50% poison damage. I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't mind the mortars. Poison per second goes up. I feel like we want that. Like, we want higher DOT possibilities. 1,500 gold, huh? We have a +2 for a shredder. We do. I have no problems here so far. I mean, I feel like I really don't have problems until, like, we get much, much further into things. By the way, another reason that I haven't played much Rogue Tower on YouTube, like, the VODs have come over from Twitch, but it's really hard to, like, banter for 90 minutes. I mean, that's like a Marathon Isaac episode. I have a liter of water with me to, you know, facilitate the vocal cord gymnastics required to make this work. But we'll get there together, you know, one day at a time. I will take an obelisk. Now, we probably don't have the mana base for an obelisk right now. But I'm going to place one here. And then I'm going to place some mana banks back, or just one, I guess. Maybe two after we hit that. And we'll see how our mana looks. This is like a data generation round. It's a horrible place for this. We're not going to keep it there. I would really like you to be on a +3, but you got to be on a +3 where you can actually, like, see everything. That's a tough one. I don't mind having you on this +2, but it's just like it's a little late. Maybe we'll put you here. We just have to ensure that we spawn the boss on this path. This seems so bad. Like, you're not even getting spawned on the, like, you're not hitting all the enemies that are coming through. So I think we gotta put you on, like, a +3 that everybody has to go through. So if it has to be that, then it has to be that. It's not as perfect as I'd like, but so be it. Okay, I'm gonna try to indeed increase poison per second. This is our first boss wave, so be ready. I would say, especially because we want the boss to spawn here, what if we put a mortar on this +3 and then make sure we change its targeting? I was going to say I'm feeling good, but the problem is I'm always feeling good until it goes terribly wrong. I'm always like, this is going to be no problem, and then it all falls apart. Let's get another mana bank, and we'll probably be able to build one more tower. And honestly, I expanded the wrong direction. I straight up just expanded the wrong direction. With that in mind, I'm going to spend some money on some health damage upgrades here in the hopes that that will allow us to just melt Oogie fast enough. Because we wanted him to spawn up here. It probably doesn't make like an enormous difference because like we would have only hit him with a few extra mortar shots, but it may legitimately be the kiss of death. We may have made a grievous error, but hold on, look at this. We got good damage. Come on, shred him. Just hit him with a quick shredder. We got mortars doing the business. Never make that mistake again. I'm feeling okay. He's got bleed. He's getting hit by mortars. He's getting Tesla coiled. Another shredder hit him. He's done. Don't even worry about that. Plus, we got that ballista at the back. That'll do it. Look at this. A couple more of those. This one should toast them. Maybe a little more. One more, maybe? Okay, no sweat. I think we'd like our obelisks to deal more damage to armor. And by obelisks, I mean obelisk. Our mortars to deal more damage to armor. Tesla coils deal more damage to health. Let's have obelisks add another damage type. I think that's very important. And then I might want to expand you like once. Oh my god. That seems like horrendous news. Maybe it's... I think it splits the enemies across the waves, so maybe it's not actually like that bad. But it sure seems bad, right? To get this many branches. I don't know. Maybe yes, maybe no. I feel a little overloaded. That doesn't mean it's necessarily bad, though. Okay, we need another... I'm seeing enemies with shields are making it through. So we definitely need to set up, like, another poison alley. And I'm going to crank on your shield damage just a little bit. Because we're going to have fast enemies coming through, too. And I also think then... Like, give me a +2 shredder here. We're just going to go health damage on you because that's your strong suit. When fast enemies come through, we don't have anything that slows. So we need AoEs. I almost feel like we might benefit. It's a little bit of future-proofing, but I feel like we might benefit from a shredder right here. It's a +3, and we can't reliably kill all the enemies that'll spawn fast enemies upstream so that their problems don't hurt us downstream, okay? So I'm going to put a shredder right there. I do want the particle cannon. We have some serious mana problems, though. For now, let's make our mortars better, and then I'm going to expand... in this direction. Thankfully, our shredder can do some work there. Mana bank, please. Okay, how much do you get demolished for? 1,000? It has to happen. Our poison shooters have to fire. So I think our next bit of infrastructure, like, all needs to go into mana in order for us to have a chance. I know we're boarding over some siphon spots there, but just work with me, okay? It's a thing. In every game, Every decision in life, there's trade-offs. Well, if you do this, you can't put siphons there. Well, yeah, but if you go to college for engineering, you're probably not going to become the world's most famous ballerina either. You know, you've only got a limited number of water to fill up a limited number of buckets. So I'm choosing to go with this mana bank strat that we got here. We're going to put down our obelisk again, which is why I took a mana independent upgrade last time by making our mortars better against armor. By the way, we could use another mortar in this section. Maybe they're still pretty cheap. Let's try one right here. Not cheap enough. I will have my mortars do a little burn damage, as minor as it seems. You go here. Okay. You go here. And then I don't change the targeting on everything. I'm not that detail-oriented, in case you haven't noticed. Then we got to replace our obelisk. I still like it in a position where it can hit everything. We had it here, didn't we? We had it somewhere. We probably on the spot that we had our mortar on now. Whoopsie. But everything's going fine. We got no sweat right now. Nothing's even getting close. DOTs are doing what they're supposed to do. It's not that good, but we can raise your range later. I'm okay with this. And we might still be mana deficient. You should always target most armor, least shields. Because you do like nothing to shields. And shields have to go before armor. That makes sense to me. Okay. Let's have Tesla coils add burn. As minor as it may seem, and it do seem kind of minor. Okay, fast enemies, I'm scared. I'm officially frightened. Give me a shredder here. And then give it some quick upgrades. As minor as it might seem, I just think having as many damage types on enemies seems sensible to me. Now, I'm looking at my mana situation. Obviously, we're not at, like, self-sufficiency yet, but I think it's going, like, not as bad. Look, I'm like, I don't want to put something here, because eventually we might be able to put, like, a mortar there. Really? You're going to put 75 mortars down, so this, like, +0 spot is going to be valuable? Probably not too likely. Good point, good point. Alright, well, the obelisk did incredible work. Clearly, we didn't change too much, but the units have been melted sufficiently. Feeling okay. What are we at? Wave 19 of 1,000. The waves get longer and faster. But look at this. We've got a nice cosmopolitan assortment of damage over time. At some point, we're going to want universities. I would like to make our mana balance better as well. Let's go mana balance first. And then I will... That might be a good spot there. Prepare to place down some more mana banks. 2 of them. I don't know if it's going to be enough. 3 of them. 16 mana per second. We seem like we're at like a fairly steady equilibrium. Alright, so this is why we placed this shredder here. The whole reason this shredder is here is so we don't get, you know, just taken down 7 HP at a time by fast little weirdos with no HP. They should melt before they have a chance to get to the tower. You guys are definitely going to die. I'm feeling okay. You might say it's a little overkill to build more mana banks, but we don't really need the mana right now necessarily. But we're definitely going to need it in the future. So, I think it's a very sensible approach, honestly. Now, like, if we get a particle cannon, for example, that's when we're going to be feeling good about this. But more than anything else, we need, like, something that erodes shields upstream here. I feel like even though it seems inefficient, like a poison sprayer right here, just so that their shields don't regen and they start taking some serious shield damage before they come in, I think that could help us. Not that we're really struggling, but, you know, the waves get harder as time goes on. You know what? Increase all... I do like the damage to shields, don't get me wrong. But increase all of the max bleed, burn, and poison by plus 40 per second. At least the cap on them. That seems fantastic to me. Okay, 900 gold is not enough to be like, we have to spend it immediately. We're getting levels ambiently. Think about what we have to do, you know? It's like Borderlands. You gotta take down all the health bars. You gotta have the right weapons for the right situation. The next thing we should be worried about is Zombie Oogie, who is armor rich. We have an obelisk. Do we have sufficient mana? I would say we probably have slightly insufficient mana, so let's overbuild capacity for that. And then we are also struggling a little bit, not struggling, but perhaps our biggest like weak point right now is doing damage to shields from afar. We just need a particle cannon, man. We get a particle cannon, we're living. We're living and loving. All we need to do is laugh, and then we've completed the whole trifecta. Unworried. Now, I know there is a mod for this. Perhaps I should get the mod that allows you to fast forward, because, I mean, you're dead. You stand no chance. It's just that this path is so long, it takes you a while to get there. But I want to keep expanding this path because I feel like this could be a portal, which would be sick for us. We could put a little capstone on it. Come on, man. You had to wait all the way till the obelisk? It's actually good for us. Because, like, after all that... Oh, plus 15% crit chance. Holy cow. Because it means that we had time to get, like, our mana supply back up. Ruka, you throwing up on camera? 1 second, let me pause. You cool, buddy? You got a little hairball? He's got a little hairball. I'll be right back. Wouldn't you know it, he horked a little bit, but never produced. Which I think is basically the dream scenario. Please, please become a portal. You scare the crap out of me, by the way. I am gonna... Maybe not yet. Maybe not yet. I feel like you could end up being a sick mortar spot. Let me just take a look at your range. I'm willing to let this fly for now. Hey, buddy. You should probably change the mortars to be slowest, too, but that's not part of my ambitions here, okay? Is to spend my whole life in the menus. There you go. Okay. I'm content with this. You know, a mortar range upgrade would hit the spot. We got Zombie Oogie coming up. Mana's doing great. We got 2,900 gold to patch up some holes in how we're feeling right now. I am very concerned about these ghost enemies, because don't they spawn bats? They're also not ghosts at all. They kind of look like the Dung Eater. I told you I had Elden Ring on the brain. Okay, let's see what happens here. We may end up having to use our late game shredder, although they're pretty close to getting melted. Holy cow. They don't spawn enemies when they die? They're just like dudes? Well, you don't scare me at all then. You're actually just like nothing. You're not even supposed to be around in the area. Okay. Again, like some shield damage from afar. If we had the mana capacity, a particle cannon fits like so seamlessly into our build right now. You pop it on top of that +3, it sees the whole map, and we're loving life. Come on. Otherwise, they're gonna maybe have to add like a second obelisk soon just for like total damage. Tesla coils do more. I don't really like radar. I wish that I did. I think we can take magnetic blades. No, portal. And the reason I like magnetic blades is because it's like a passive way for us to inhibit shields from afar. We don't have to change anything on our squad. We don't have to spend any extra money. We just, you know, like do better against shields. Very slightly, but, you know, still helpful. Now I'm getting scared, okay? Raise your health damage. Tesla coils raise your shield damage. Starting to get some enemies that are making it a little further, a little faster. Not by much, but by enough to be slightly scary. And dude, these shredders are doing insane work. Whatever, we'll wait. Who cares? What should we do with our gold? You guys, just, if anything, the fact that they're existing now, I gotta use my, like, tower defense flowchart, okay? These guys existing is not a problem. Just because they're the last ones to kill doesn't mean this is where, like, we need to invest our efforts. If anything, these guys still have to go through the whole maze before they die, so I wouldn't worry that much about it. Although this is where we're going to spawn the boss, so having some upstream DOT makes sense to me. However, it's this initial rush where things become quite dangerous for us. So if anything, I think we got to invest in artificially extending these paths so they're not all, or at least so many of them aren't exactly the same length. And then also, you know, buffeting up the choke points a little bit that are in this region. Anti-magic ray. I'm going to make magnetic blades get even stronger. We're not on the zombie wave yet, but we need to make our choke points better right now. So give me another poison sprayer. I don't mind it. Keep them poisoned as long as possible. And then toss me another Tesla coil. These are like our shield destroyers. They're also good AoE. And then mortars are 650. I feel like our mortars have been doing a lot of work for us. It takes a lot for me to say that because I think they're an easy turret for me to underrate. But I think they've been doing some sick work. Let's go most armor, most health, okay? And then we do want to... I think we want to, like, expand you twice so that the boss spawns over here anyway, but also we want this path to be longer. So that not all the enemies are coming in at exactly the same time. And I think this is a wave where we can just observe, okay? We still want particle cannon, because huge enemies with shields are going to be a bit of a nightmare for us. We got great AoE, we have low single target damage against shields. We have low single target damage against everything except armor. Like, the mortar does okay health damage, but... and the shredders as well, of course, but... not to a boss that's health bar is, like, across the whole screen. That was my pantomime for across the whole screen, by the way. This looks fine. Towers ambiently leveling. These guys will never get here. 3,000 gold. I didn't love how our mana looked. I'm going to spend 1,000 on just a couple of extra mana banks, because if we run out, it's a nightmare. And we're going to continue to look for the particle cannon. Right now, everything's fine. Financing a second obelisk for the boss wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. We do want them to spawn here. We would probably prefer if our obelisk didn't fire at the same time, but then you run the risk of spending 1,000 gold on an obelisk that isn't even going to get the fire, but... let me think. Okay, now I'm going to make my poison a little better. Although we are mortar focused as well. So we want to expand here. It'll spawn the boss here. And I think we want a downstream obelisk. We're about to get a bunch of gold, so don't worry about that. Just put it here. Most armor. Least shield. And then if you don't have to use it, even better, right? Like, all the more power to you. 1,900 gold. At 1,900 gold... Zombie Oogie is shield focused. What the heck? I had it totally backwards. Either way, I mean, we did build AoE shields. We didn't really have the option to build single target shields, so I'm not sweating it. Here's what I will say. With knowing how important shields are for us right now, certainly willing to invest some/all of our gold into making sure that we have upgraded shield damage to some extent, because we've really done nothing to Zombie Oogie. We're running the risk of what happens a lot in a rogue tower run, where you just watch a boss with no minions walk all the way to the exit and just kill you. So I'm realizing now you guys should actually fire... well, I don't know. I don't think slowest will matter, because as soon as one of those fast enemies gets into your range, it's going to cause you problems. So I don't know. Mortars, how much damage you do against shields? Basically none. Basically none. How about you? You're a little better now, because we have made you... we've got magnetic blades ×2. I mean, we've literally done, like, no damage. Nothing does significant shield damage until you get to these poison and Tesla coils. I still feel pretty okay though. Like, I know you got a lot of HP, but this is where it's gonna start to, you're gonna start to feel the burn. The poison's gonna do it. Even though the obelisk is not doing that much, it's doing a lot in aggregate, I think, versus what was happening before, which was essentially nothing. Okay, double up on this shield damage. Our Tesla coils have got to be on point. I think we're fine. It just looked scary. Because it was scary. And, like, the consequences of you getting through are insanely high. Go, my mangoes. You do spawn minions? Well, that's okay, because that's what this Tesla coil is here for. Hopefully. Hopefully. It didn't do nothing. And then finally, our Shredder gets to fire for the first time in 100 years. We're going to be fine. You're not making it. Zombie Oogie's already dead. Good stuff. Okay. Let's have our mortars get blast radius, but I do still feel like more shield damage is appropriate. Poison enemies take more shield damage from all attacks. Necessary. Particle cannon. Exactly what we asked for. We don't need range on the particle cannon. I think it's already so strong. But so rangy, I should say. All poison sprayers deal more damage to shields. This seems critical to me. Now, I think we should, again, offset the paths a little bit, because now this one and this one are probably like roughly the same length. So let's expand. Well, let's throw down a particle cannon. It should be on a +3. I thought I had a spot for it, but I forgot where. That would be a nice, and again, I'm not giving you stuff to do. You know, I'm sure you got enough stuff to do. But that would be a nice quality of life improvement. I think I'm okay with that. And you should always target most shield, I think. But to be able to, like, hit a hotkey and just have it highlight the squares on your map that fulfill the condition, like, you know, if I hit 3 on my numpad, it highlights, like, all the +3 spots. Let's see how we're doing here. Mana is the thing I'm most concerned about. The particle cannon, honestly, might look like it has a kind of a muted affect. Just give it some time, okay? This is, I'm content in our structure. It's all about distributing the wave evenly so that our structure has the maximum capability of actually dealing with this, I think. So we very quickly ran into mana problems. That's a good thing to diagnose early. And keep in mind, the obelisks will go through periods where they don't fire. The particle cannon will fire throughout. We would really like, at this point, we would like to get a sorcery level. Because sorcery itself would give us, even at level 1, it would give us 12 mana a second. Crit chance equal to level. Let's take a look at, like, some of these towers. Level 8, lose 1 base damage. So it lose like 12%. Well, I guess against armor it would lose very little. So it would lose 3 of 45. So it would lose like 8% of its damage, but gain an 8% crit chance. It's almost like they planned it that way. So there's probably like a break-even point where this makes sense. Crit is double damage, I assume. As the game goes on, I do think this will be advantageous. Let's take that. It's never going to be worse than it is right now. Okay. Then expand me one more time. Now we can look at universities. I mean, we could have taken some upgrades earlier, don't get me wrong, but now we can actually invest in our universities with our extraneous gold. Mana. I wouldn't say mana's struggling. I wouldn't say it's necessarily in a great spot. But I'm feeling okay with what we got here. The particle cannon's doing some work. We're decaying slowly, let's put it that way. Let's put like another couple of these down. I'm feeling pretty good. But again, I always feel pretty good until it all starts to go terribly wrong. And we're AFK right now. I like the structure because we get a chance to actually like rebuild our mana pool when the obelisks don't fire. That being said, I still love sorcery. So what are we looking for? Sorcery level 1, because I think you have to start at level 1. A university would be very nice, now that we have an occult shrine. Could have invested in the university earlier and we could get those sick, like, crit chance upgrades, but, you know, now is another opportunity. The second best time to plant the tree was 20 years ago. The best time was 20 years ago. The second best time is right now. I'm actually going to take the extra range. I know I said we didn't need it, but I think now, depending on where the boss spawns, we'll be happier to have it like this. And I think this is okay, but just choose a way to expand me a little further. I know we got a lot of gold. I'm kind of hoping to dump a bunch into our university, but I'm just trying to stay flexible as well. And mana's doing okay, until our second obelisk fires at least. Are we at some kind of equilibrium? More or less. This looks fine. I'm breathing a little easier. Number one cause of death for me in this game is not paying attention to mana and just running out. And this looks fantastic. Everything looks great to me here. Almost 6,000 gold. DOTs through the roof. 7 waves until Big Brain Oogie. Now, I don't really know what Big Brain Boogie's or Oogie's thing is, because I thought that Oogie's thing was, or I thought that Zombie Oogie's thing was armor, but it's actually shields. So what the heck is, it's not even Big Brain Oogie. What am I talking about? It's Robo Oogie. Maybe Robo Oogie's thing is armor and shields? I don't know. I don't have an answer for you. I really don't feel like we need obelisks to deal damage to shields, because they're always going to target, like, units with least shields. Maybe, like, more bleed. But the obelisks do, like, a great tick rate of damage. I think we can now afford to expand this by 1. That's a beautiful +6 tower. I think if you got a +6 tower, you gotta, or +5, you gotta think about putting, like, a particle cannon down on it. Now, that may cause us mana problems. But I'm telling you, single target damage is going to be our problem right now. We got great AoEs. The poison's doing wonders. I think the Tesla coils are doing something. The shredders are doing work. And look at that range. Mana's not a serious concern. We got 9,000 gold that we should invest, obviously. But we're just crushing them right now. Like, this is not even close. We need to figure out what to do. Another bad habit I have in this game, not investing the money that we have. I think that if you've seen me play this, you recognize that. I would like to make my mortars... poison enemies take more damage from shield. Let's take blast radius for now. I think we might have single target kind of, like, locked up, honestly. Now we can probably expand you and just another +6. Look. I mean, +5. Maybe we're going a little much on this, but just stay steady here. Probably would get more value from upgrading, but, you know, quantity has a quality all of its own. I would put down another couple just, you know, for sport. There we go. Some minions have managed to make it through, which means we probably need to bolster up that choke point a little bit, but they still didn't make it too far. Let's look at his AoE. Hard to tell because the enemies are still fairly tanky. You can't convince me I'm making the wrong decision with these particle cannons. As long as the waves are going down, it's only the boss that concerns me. Please, universities. I'm begging you. I'm begging you. Universities, man. Okay. Realistically, what do we need? Maybe more armor? Because, like, we're more, or health, actually. Because we're kind of crushing the game from a shield standpoint, I think, with all these poison spreaders, or particle cannons. You gotta recognize, okay, I don't record videos this long very often anymore. Like, I'm gonna need, like, one of those, like, energy gels that they use on the Tour de France. Brain glycogen's not low yet, but could get there. It could get there. So all these enemies, they're coming through this choke point. Don't forget it, okay? They also, some of them are making it to this choke point. Do me a favor, give me another poison spreader. Do me a favor, give me another Tesla coil. And honestly, I feel all things considered, when you have 12,000 gold, you would be like a fool to not try to throw down a shredder. As long as you aim at progress, I love that you're going to hit here and then it's going to loop all the way back around. So as much as this looks like a horrible location, I'm okay with it. But what am I going to do with the remainder of my 12,000 gold? Well, I'd love to build some universities, but I guess that's not a real answer. Well, I don't know. I feel like it's not the right time to deploy it because we're melting everything down. Our mana's in a good spot. Like, I kind of feel like we got it on lock right now. We know we want to spawn Big Brain Oogie over here. Wave 45 is the final wave. No universities, for real? For real? I will still take... No. I'll take armor damage, okay? Our mortars are a big part of our game plan. Let's make sure we're taking advantage of those. And you now need to expand in different directions here. Okay, I mean, I want a high-range tower here. I don't know if I want to throw down another particle cannon, though. Like, this is a weird spot for one, I'll be honest. But I feel like you know what? If your strategy's been working for you, don't mess with it. Don't inject variety for no reason. As much as this might look silly, I think you're taking advantage. Now, you know what is going to bother me the most about this? Is, okay, hold on, we got fast enemies. They would bother me the most. If they killed me, they would bother me the most. So let's not worry about what bothers me the most yet. Okay, what's going to bother me the most is that there's always going to be this blank spot at the map. Nothing can possibly fill this. But we're doing great, man. Particle cannons are... I guess they don't take that much mana. 14 per shot. The obelisk is 3 per shot, but it shoots like 100 times a second. This seems absolutely fine. Now, we do have 17,000 gold. I would say, given the circumstances here, it would be a fool's errand. If we don't get universities here, you have to level your best towers up. Especially knowing that we get increased crit chance for every level because of the quality over quantity that we took. No university, that's fine. I think I'll make my obelisk better. I think I'm okay with that. And then you've got to spend your gold, okay? So I would say, first off, your particle cannons. I don't mind. Spend, baby, spend. Level 6. Let's do it with these ones first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because they're best... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're best at dealing with shields. But they do a lot of damage to just about everything. Like, compared to other towers, which would explain why they're so expensive. I'll expand. You should expand once. Try to keep them so they're not the same length. And then just see where we stand. Because we did just spend 17,000 gold. I hope we're chilling, but, you know, we gotta maybe just simmer it a little bit. Like, that was a lump sum payment. It's really hard to gauge how efficacious those upgrades are. We basically just need to see, okay, are any enemies making it, like, further down the line? Are any faster enemies making it? Like, right now, this feels pretty good. Mana... is enough of a concern that, you know, while having some gold right now, I'd like to deal with it. Enemies have made it much further down the line. It's over? How do you lose? No, it's not over yet. How do you lose, though, or at least lose HP on a round after you spent all your money, instead of the round before you spent all your money? Like, I'm upset that we even took a hit there. How the heck did that happen? We just spent, I guess, because we spent all of our gold on particle cannon upgrades. What that means is that the enemies that made it through were never being touched by particle cannons. Which means, now that we've maybe overtuned ourselves, it's a constant balancing of sliders. You know? We've overtuned ourselves for single target foes. Now it's time to double down on the AoE a little bit. Spend your next round of gold to upgrade your shredders, spend it to upgrade your poison cannons, your AoEs, etc., etc. I think we could possibly make a flamethrower work, but for now, I'm going to make my shredders better, because they are an AoE unit. We got 4,000 gold. Okay, level 9 poison. 1, 2, 3. I'll admit is not as impressive. We should remember as well, like, cheap levels matter a lot to us because it raises the crit chance by 1 by itself. You know, times 100 towers, that makes a big difference. We can take one of each, maybe? Okay, all right. And then it's not the final wave. It's not boss wave yet, so expand me. I know we got these beautiful +5s here. I just don't know what to do with them yet. Because I'd like something that can hit the whole map, but that only leaves particle cannons, which we're probably overstuffed on right now. But if we're going to invest in, like, anything, I would rather, if it doesn't have the range, I would rather it just is further up on the choke point. Hold on, my cat? Excuse me? Fruka. There we go. You got a whole cat tree you can sit on. You don't need to sit on the keyboard. It's like my worst fear, at least like occupationally, that he's gonna sit on my keyboard, hit the space bar, and I'm gonna be muted for the video in which I finally beat Rogue Tower. And nobody's gonna care about the win I fought my life for. They're gonna be like, you're muted, and I'm gonna be like, well, there's nothing I can do about that now, because my cat sat on my dang space bar, which is the hotkey to mute for some reason if you've got your device highlighted in OBS, which is not really OBS's problem, to be fair. Okay, so we're crushing it here. I think our upgrades did enough. It was subtle, but they did enough. Nothing made it past. So this is boss wave, but don't, you know, the AoEs are no slouch either. I mean, I think we're way overtuned for the bosses. I hope. This is the most particle cannons I've ever had. 2 obelisks also seems pretty good. Very nice. I mean, I'll be honest with you. Particle cannons, though, is pretty good. What is... It's like 3% damage increase. For mortars, it's way more. Okay, give me the mortars for now. Now, it's a boss wave, so we want to expand in a different direction. Let's expand here. And then the boss will spawn here. But then with 7,000 gold, I still think, more than anything else, we want to bolster up this area right here. I don't think we should be as precious as I'm being right here. I think we should click, not indiscriminately, but like faster. You're only level 3. Okay, you could use some support. Mana's still okay. Not amazing, but okay. Let's make sure we're still stable there. Build a couple of these. It's like Microsoft Flight Sim, man. Like, we're trying to make sure we're staying ahead of the curve. You know, you're looking for downstream problems and sorting them out before you're downstream. Robo Oogie has already lost his shields. I am hoping that they will remain gone, and then when he gets down to the obelisks, if we have the mana base for it, we should be fine. But you guys, aren't you the ones that spawn minions? I'm going to be honest, a lot of these minion types, they're so small and so cute, they all kind of look the same to me. They're like, you know, little Crossy Road minions. But everything's fine right now. Robo Oogie, don't get like a big head. He's going to take no damage for a long time because nothing in range is going to target him, except for these mortars. But when he comes down here, my hope and dream is that the obelisk is going to, you know, feed him his teeth through a straw. That was needlessly violent. I apologize. But because I'm seeing like a potential win on the horizon, it's affecting me on an endocrinological level. It's getting my hormones flaring up. Becoming a bit of a caveman, if you will. Now, he does have a lot of HP, but this is what it's all about. And when all the enemies are dead, except Robo Oogie, who do you think the particle cannons are going to shoot on? There's nobody else. They're going to tear into him. Look at this. I'm realizing a chief error I have made in this game is thinking that because particle cannons predominantly do shield damage, they're useless for everything else. They're actually just really good damage dealers in general. Obelisks deal +1 base damage for every second they target the same enemy. You know, that just seems cool. University? It's kind of a little late for University. We only got 10 rounds. Give me the mana regen. That's like another 18 per second. Give me the rest of it. Now, 107 per second I feel much more comfortable about. I'm almost wondering if it shouldn't be like most shield, then most health, then most armor. Just because, like, you're so strong. We basically want you to always target the strongest enemy. Like, even if there's an enemy with some shield, I would rather you shoot at a boss that has no shield than, like, a little minion with a little shield on it. I think it's a better, more effective use of our mana. We only have 3,200 gold. Okay, so be smart. This is probably not a university build. That's okay. Continue expanding. And now that we have so much mana regen, I mean, I'm just going to be honest with you. I feel like you could just toss down another particle can. As long as you summon the boss at an appropriate juncture, I'm feeling okay. But let's see. We might need to focus on expanding this path. This is where, like, most of our problems lie, I think. Pardon me. 52 minutes? This is my whole afternoon. It's worth it, though. Even if we don't win, it's worth it. But if we win, oh, man. Okay, so we have a problem. Let's see what we can do about that right now by just pumping this Tesla coil. Which was probably not the #1 resource required there, but that's okay. So let's think about what we can do with this. First off, expand this path. Secondly, more shield damage on these guys earlier and more health damage. You are going to die. I'm not worried about that, but this path needs to expand a little bit. Which probably means this path needs to expand a little bit as well. And maybe this path needs to, but then if we only have 10 waves, like, we got a lot of things we're saying that we're going to do, but we don't really have the time to do them. I think because of quality over quantity, we should focus, like, as much as possible on leveling our existing towers instead of placing more unless we get amazing spots. Because, like, a +5 tower spot is basically like skipping 5 levels. But even that is only like 1,000 gold. No, but it's more than +5 because it's basically like a +15, right? Because it's +5 to all base damage categories. That's really good. Anyway, I don't know. I'm trying to come up with a mental model that I can use to, like, you know, have shortcuts to make decisions later in the game. Whether or not it makes sense, I don't know. I will make my mortars do a little bit extra burn damage, I suppose. I will expand you. We don't have a ton of gold right now. I really thought they might target. Did they? No, you did. Okay. Don't have a lot of money to spend right now. So we're just watching, like, intently to see what happens here. Obelisk is doing some great melting. I think our priorities are pretty much on point for that, which is something that's rare for me to say. Shielded enemies are still making it through. That's going to help. I didn't realize that Tesla coil was so bad. Mana's doing fine. I'm not worried about these enemies at all. And we have particle cannons that can hit all the way back to the base. So, like, they probably won't because they're not trained to target progress, but this we did way better on this one. And now we can hold fast forward. I don't think we have anything to worry about. So, the waves do get harder, of course, but the big wave we're scared of is 45. We want to make sure we spawn the boss on the furthest possible path, especially because our particle cannons will be hitting endlessly from afar. I say this every time, legitimately. But, like, I actually think this is the one. I really do. And I'm holding on to some cash right now. I know I said that we want to upgrade our existing towers because crit chance matters a lot, and I think it does. But also, with these +5 tower spots, if we're going to spawn Big Brain Oogie, I should say, the final boss, if we're going to spawn him like somewhere over here, we would love to have these be activated so that they could actually fire the whole time. I think it's too late for University. And you know that I believe that in my heart because I was asking for it the whole time. The more waves you have until the end, the more chances you get for a proc here. I don't want to spend all my gold on a lottery ticket. I know we have some burn. You know what? Sure. I don't know. Let's increase that burn rate right now, but I'm not fully sold on it. Hold on. These ballistas are almost back in the action. I feel like we could gain something. I'm worried about waves right now, but I'm worried about the boss eventually. So maybe we could deploy our next capital expenditure on increasing our efficacy on waves, like this, for example. And then before the final boss fight, we'll just make sure that we're also putting 2 more particle cannons down on those nice spots. That seems acceptable to me. I feel like for the first time in a long time, I'm kind of using my brain. Get melted. Come on, get melted. If a couple enemies make it to the end, I'm not going to cry. The ballistas can take this. Come on. You know you can take this. Ballistas, that's what you're here for. And also to generate money. Mostly the money. Thank you. Thank you, Shredder. So yes, I think we were right to invest in waves there. I almost made a mistake that could have cost us dearly, but I think we were right to invest in our waves. And I think we should continue to do the same. It's so hard to diagnose like how much the thing you just bought is helping you. Like if it's an obelisk and you watch an enemy's health melt, you're like, yeah, okay. But when you distribute like, you know, 30 levels across 6 towers, it's really hard to be like, oh, look at how much that actually helped me. You just sort of get a general feeling of like ease, right? And this was an uneasy round, but I'm glad we invested because who knows how uneasy we would have been if we didn't. Okay, so we're alive and we're feeling fine. We don't really need mana right now, but wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. How about poison sprayers do even more poison damage? And then we continue to expand you. And hey, we got a portal, which is a little late, but at least this ballista... Nope, never mind. Okay. Now, with 3,000 gold, again, investing is not that easy. Could take some quick levels here. Obelisk is doing fine. You're so expensive to upgrade. Get a couple quick ones. I mean, our ballistas can get upgraded, but that's not what they're here for. I don't know, man. I know I said like I was feeling like we got this. I still am, but I'm increasingly getting scared of that opinion. Like, this might look like it's not good, but we're actually further ahead than we used to be. Like, these enemies are not making it as far. This Tesla coil's doing some incredible work. I feel like we could put more there. We don't really want a DOT, though. We want something that just, like, knocks you out. And maybe even like a second Tesla is the way to do it. And then just get like a broad assortment of levels. Because it really does do, as much as I was way in like a fallacy. You're level 24, you're level 24. He just got hired, he's already on the same level of the organization as me. But this gives me the ability, in my opinion, to feel safe about investing in killing our high health bar units now. Like, we can focus on particle cannons over here, now that we have, like, you know, the Twin Guardians here to stop the enemies, as long as our mana's fine. I was guilty of thinking, like, if something's A+ against shields, it's gotta be, like, you know, D against everything else. But that's not the case. These Teslas are pretty, like, you know, they're pretty well-balanced. I will have crits deal 10% of target's current poison as extra poison damage. It says the word crit, which means it probably helps us with our quality versus quantity. Portal? Can we still spawn Big Brain Oogie there? If it's the longest path, I think we can. And it's definitely longer than this path. Okay, so we don't have enough gold to really invest too much. So let's just see how our changes have affected us. Really, these miniature portals scare the crap out of me. That's where the obelisk comes in. Everything got melted right here. That feels amazing. But if anything makes it here, we want to see what happens to them after that. You know what is... If anything's making this easier right now... Okay, here we go. Oh, baby. That felt good. And then the shredder will handle the rest. Hopefully. If anything, this means that our poison crit was actually like a pretty good take, I think. Good blast. Good blast. More things are making it through. Our mana could use the slightest bit of work. But everything's still dying. I think we're building the things we have to build right now, man. I think we're adjusting to the game as it's presenting itself for like the first time ever. And if you made it through the last like waves of enemies, as long as our mana doesn't run out, you're gonna make it through these guys too. That's beautiful. Go ahead. I would like you to shoot a saw. Thank you. I really, because like, you were just kind of looking at him. You were eyeballing him for a bit. I didn't know what was going to happen with that. Now, these are some slightly stronger enemies for sure. They actually have shields remaining. We're going to take some hits here. We might lose right here. I think we're about to lose. Don't lose with 11,000 gold in your pocket. We just lost. It says game over, but it's still going. Okay, well, like, what crushed it for us? Particle cannon, great work. Mortar, great work. Nothing wrong with that, okay? The Tesla coil, it looks like it didn't do much, but I think it's because mostly they just didn't do anything for, like, the half of the game, mostly being up here. I felt like they actually helped us out a lot in a pinch. I'm embarrassed, because, like, we died with so much gold in our pocket that would have been advantageous to us. At the same time, I'm like... Man, life comes at you fast. Either way, that's Rogue Tower. See you with it again in approximately 1 week, probably. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. See ya.